Hello and welcome. This is our discussion for Human Resources Management, Chapter 12. As with the other chapters, I'd like you to go ahead and have your textbook out, and we're going to talk a little bit about the items in Chapter 12, which is all about safety and health in the workplace. So again, Chapter 12 in your Human Resources textbook. And essentially the discussion begins on page 528 with telling you that safety and health is not only something that's just good business, but it is the law in most cases. There are all sorts of laws that govern safety and health in the workplace, and that's really what the first objective of the chapter, beginning on page 528, talks about. And there's a handy little quiz on page 529 that talks a little bit about the safety and how smart you are as regards to kind of like a test your knowledge kind of quiz and whether or not you can answer those questions. So that might be kind of interesting for you to go ahead and do. The next couple of pages talks about OSHA, which is the Occupational Safety and Health Administration. And OSHA covers a lot of areas related to the workplace and safety standards. And so that's talked about on page 530, 531, 32, 33, 34, and also a handy summary sheet or a tip sheet is talked about on page 534 and 535. But again, most of this chapter is dealing primarily with health and safety. Now, Objective 2, beginning on page 536, begins our discussion about promoting a safe work environment and just ways that you can do to help promote that safe work environment. And those can include something as mundane as making sure that the lights work correctly, or that the floor doesn't include any places where someone could accidentally trip, to the much more serious about chemical spills and those kinds of things. Safety gear, training gear, those kinds of items. And that's also talked about in Objective 3, beginning on page 539, 540. And you've probably seen something like page 541 that is essentially a flyer that talks about safety in the workplace. Wherever you work, you may see these kinds of documents about safety. And then as we continue on, there's all sorts of tips and tricks and techniques about promoting a safe work environment, including something that's very common now, and this is computer workstations, beginning on page 544. I'm sitting at a workstation. You may have a job where you sit at a computer all day, and so there are some special considerations with regards to creating a safe environment for those working at computer workstations. And then there's some other stuff related to like carpal tunnel syndrome, with ergonomics, and also with AIDS and the HIV virus, and not discriminating against those with those kinds of diseases. And then finally on page 546 is a very sad section dealing with workplace violence. And unfortunately, it's not too infrequent. It's actually pretty frequent that we hear stories about people having trouble where someone is shot, killed, multiple people are shot and killed in the workplace, and it's becoming more and more of an issue. And this section at the bottom of page 546 and 547 talks a little bit about that, along with reducing it, ways to reduce it on page 547. And then terrorism, crisis management teams, and so on. And then some other items, beginning with Objective 4, talks about promoting health and safety and dealing with items such as obesity and alternative approaches to health. For instance, at Grayson County College, we even have a system in place where the college will pay us to participate in a health and wellness program, like an exercise program. We'll actually pay for us to join that. So there's an entire wellness program dedicated to that, and it's kind of nice. Other items, employee assistance, dealing with personal crisis, depression, alcoholism, abuse of illegal drugs, and so on. All of those deal with promoting safety and health and helping us to have a better work environment. And this is something beginning on page 556 that I'm pretty close to is the bottom of page 556, 57 is dealing with stress. Stress is a real issue in a lot of jobs, dealing with stress. And as I'd mentioned earlier, in my position, there is some stress associated with it. So it's very important to find ways to help eliminate that stress. And then there's on page 558, there's a little bit of information about how to cope with stress. And some employers actually even have a program to help facilitate a stress-free environment. And you can kind of explore that on your own later on in sections of this chapter and others. Well, again, thank you for following along and listening to this quick lecture. As always, if you have any questions or need any kind of assistance, feel free to message me through Blackboard or email me directly. And as always, I look forward to seeing you again. Thank you.